This will be a day long remembered. Now I am the master.
Welcome to another episode of Legends and Theories. And welcome to my breakdown of the second trailer to The Flash. And I'm kind of excited for this movie. I do want to see what they do with it. And although the actor Ezra Miller has done a lot of dumb stuff, I'm not going to be taking that into account. And we'll just be breaking down this trailer. And I'm genuinely excited to see what they do with it. So let's go straight into it.
I lost my parents. That pain made me who I am.
We begin with a scene talking about something that nobody ever remembers, that Bruce Wayne has lost his parents. Of course, I'm kidding, everyone knows that, and it's funny that they did include it, but they are using it to set up the context that Barry was able to bring his mother back and stop his father from being framed for her murder. And it is pretty interesting that they're going with the Flashpoint story pretty early on. But I do hope they do it better than the Flash TV show did, since that one just kind of had it only to be one episode, and you don't really get a crazy world with that. But this one, it seems like it's going to be a far more Flashpoint world where things are pretty bad.
I spent a lifetime trying to right the wrongs of the past. As if fighting crime would bring my parents back.
After we continue to hear Michael Keaton's Batman talking about the things I just discussed, we get to see a look at all of his different bat suits, and they all look pretty similar. Some of them look like they are specialty suits, with one of them looking like it has scuba gear, and the other one looking like it has goggles on it. But they all look pretty similar and honestly look pretty cool, and I wonder if he's going to be really wearing any of the other ones, or just the main bat suit, because they do look pretty interesting, and you can't really see the details too well, but as I look closer and closer, there are some differences. I can see another one on the full left-hand side looks like it has some kind of strap and maybe a gun or something popping out of it. Can't really tell what it is, but looks pretty interesting.
You actually did it.
I can't imagine what you've been through.
I love you, Monkey.
You lost both parents in one day.
Barry!
And then we hear who I'm guessing is going to be Iris. I'm not really sure because it's clearly a different voice than the mother. And it also seems that they're doing a little different with her murder, where she was at least still partially alive there. And I am wondering how they are going to arrest his father for this, since it seems a little more, well, obvious here versus his mother's murder in the show, where it's to the viewer, a clear murder by the Reverse Flash, but everyone thinks that Barry's just crazy. But it looks like Barry's even a witness to her still being alive, and probably a good chance for his father not to be guilty, but I am interested in seeing what they do with this and how specifically his mother was murdered.
I went back in time to save my parents.
But instead,
We're then going to take a look at one of the two versions of Barry Allen. I'm not sure which one is going to be which, if the main version now has the the yellow lightning, and we'll see the alternate version remain with the blue, or if it'll be the other way around. But it's going to be interesting to see this, and I'm wondering why they gave this version of the Flash blue lightning to start with because it is a little odd, and it's like the thing in Supergirl where they gave her blue heat vision for some reason, and I'm not sure why, but I am interested in seeing if this is the fact that he became faster, and this is sort of like reverse Arrowverse rules, where when a speedster gets really fast, they have yellow lightning, but when they're slower, they have blue lightning. I am interested in seeing how this is explained, but it is pretty interesting still.
I completely broke the universe.
If you went back and changed the past,
This world must die.
you changed the future.
And now to talk about one of the more odd decisions for this, to have General Zod to be a pretty major character in this, and the Flash is one of the few heroes who has a decently sized rogues gallery. It is interesting that they're bringing Zod into this. I am wondering what they're going to do with him, and if he's going to be serving as the main antagonist or if someone else will. It's pretty interesting because, well, we have had Zod before in Man of Steel, and this is to show a more chaotic world where Superman doesn't exist. But it's also just really odd to see since the Flash has a pretty decently sized rogues gallery and is one of the few heroes that actually has it, and the only other ones is really Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man. So I am interested to see why they decided to put Zod in it. It could be really cool, it's just honestly a really odd choice in my opinion.
Do you know what this symbol stands for?
Means hope, right?
I will help you fight Zod.
We then get our introduction to Supergirl for this trailer, and the classic what the Superman symbol means. And honestly, again, I think it's going to be really cool to see the characters in here. I'm just really wondering why they're going to be in the Flash, and why they could have been maybe saved for another movie or a tie-in movie or series set in the Flashpoint timeline. I'm not really sure, but I am excited to see them. It's just, especially with Zod, I think that Supergirl really could have worked, but it's so odd to have Zod in here, especially if he is the main villain, and I think that it could work without him, but I think it's just trying to set up how chaotic the world is, and hopefully Zod is more of a minor threat in this because it would be really cool to see a Flash villain actually take the role as main villain for this, since he does have plenty of them.
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
We then get a scene of Michael Keaton saying a famous line for his Batman of, "You want to get nuts, let's get nuts." And then we get to see this really cool scene where our two versions of the Flash, where we get to see the real difference between their suits. One of them is a little more like Grant Gustin's, and the other is way more like Ezra Miller's, and is pretty interesting in just the differences between them. I think that the one with the little more classic look looks a lot better, and the more armored one honestly doesn't look as cool. I do wonder if Gustin will cameo or even take over as the Flash, but it really could go either way, and the Supergirl suit also looks pretty cool, and honestly this movie looks like it's going to be really interesting, but let's continue on.
I have to undo what I did.
These scars we have make us who we are.
We then have to get a scene where Barry's explaining how he has to undo everything he's done, which we know won't work and will cause Flashpoint reset of the timeline where a bunch of people are recast. We get our first good look of Ben Affleck's Batman in this trailer. I don't think we saw him before, but we get to see him a little bit more, and I'm wondering if we're going to have 2 Batmans and 2 Flashes, and 1 Supergirl in this, or if it will be a little different, because I'm interested to see where they go with this. And it really could go either way, since it does look like, as we'll soon see, Ben Affleck's Batman will be also fighting Zod in this.
I'm not meant to go back and fix them.
We then get a look at Ben Affleck's Batman on a Batcycle, which looks extremely similar to the Batpod. And when they keep showing this in close and quick shots, a lot of people, including me, keep thinking that this might be Christian Bale's Batman. But once I'm able to freeze frame this and just look at it, it's clearly Ben Affleck's Batman. And I'm wondering why they are doing this besides to make us think that Christian Bale's Batman might be in it. But it seems unlikely he will be. And it's just a little bit of a trailer trick to try and get people excited for something that is almost certainly not going to happen in the movie. I think Christian Bale even said he won't be part of it, but we've heard that before with Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and even Patrick Stewart for both No Way Home and Multiverse of Madness, so who really knows?
Don't let your tragedy define you.
What did you do?
We then get a scene of Supergirl going up on someone, and this is either going to be her yelling at Zod or some other villain, or yelling at Barry trying to figure out what he did to change the timeline, and that he's the one who was behind everything that happened that's wrong with his world. And honestly, it could be either way. I think they want us to think that she's yelling at Barry, but it could be just a deceptive part of the trailer. We get even more battle scenes with this, and another shot which more clearly shows that this is Ben Affleck's Batman and not Christian Bale's, with them being in the same city and fighting the soldiers, which it seems that Michael Keaton Batman would drop the other ones off, so I think there's a really good chance that we will have 2 Batmans that will be in this story and fighting alongside the Flash. It'll be pretty interesting to see, and I'm wondering which ones are going to focus on more, since it seems that neither Keaton or Affleck will be returning as Batman, and we'll be getting a slightly younger one recast for the new DCU. But let's continue on.
No matter what we do, we're not going to be able to fix this. No! Nobody die!
We then get a look at a scene which is from Flashpoint where Barry is regaining his speed after losing it after the timeline was changed by him, although in that he didn't know he changed the timeline. But honestly, the thing I think works for these is knowing that most of the audience knows the twist of Flashpoint that Barry changed the timeline and doesn't need to keep it as a mystery. It did work for the Flashpoint movie, but the animated one, but I think everyone by this point would know that Barry has changed the timeline to save his mother, so they don't have to keep that as a mystery. But it does look like he does lose his speed and has to regain it. And I wonder if they're going to be doing the losing memories storyline of the original timeline in this, or if things will be a little different, since that was both important in the comics and in the show. in the animated movie, but I'm interested to see how they do the Flashpoint timeline with this. We then get this really cool scene of who I think is Zod destroying the Batwing, and seeing Michael Keaton's Batman jumping out and gliding away. Looks pretty cool on the battlefield. Looks pretty crazy, but I do wonder what they are doing with it, and it is going to be pretty interesting to see just how things change, but yeah, honestly, it looks really crazy. Let's look at the final few scenes of this trailer, and I'll finish up with my final thoughts. Before we go to that final scene, honestly, that little thing with the trailer having the two Batman symbols, and then the Supergirl one, and finally going to the Flash one, looked really cool, and I am actually really excited for this. It looks like it's going to be really good, and I just hope people don't not watch it because of the dumb things the actor has done. It seems likely he will be recast, but it looks like they have a really good story to tell that I am really interested in seeing. So let's move on to that final scene.
You're strapped to your parachutes.
Hey, where's yours?
We finally get this really cool scene where they're flying towards some kind of Arctic base, or some kind of base in the mountains where they have to jump out of the Batwing. And we get this really cool shot with the Batwing in the moon, and although we can't see the two versions of the Flash parachuting out, we can see Michael Keaton's Batman going down, and it looks really cool for the scene. And yeah, honestly, this movie looks like it's going to be really cool, and with it adapting Flashpoint, it's going to serve as like a mini Justice League movie, similar to Captain America Civil War. And honestly, it's just really odd that, well, it not only has Zod in it. I kind of sort of understand Batman, since Batman was really important to the Flashpoint story, and even Supergirl. Just the Zod inclusion is really odd to me, and I hope he is not the main villain of it. But looking at everything else, it looks really cool, and although I kind of wish we did get a more Flash-centric story before we had this adaptation of Flashpoint, I still think it would be really cool to see this, and it'll work a lot to change some things around, especially some of the actors who either don't want to be doing it anymore, are probably going to be recast for the dumb things they've done, or ones that they just need to just fully redo. And so it's going to be interesting to see what DC looks like after, and just how much of the old DCEU remains canon to the new DCU continuity. I am really excited to see this, and do want to know what you think. And just with how disappointing the current season of The Flash has been, I'm actually looking forward to this a lot more. Unless I really majorly pick up with the Flash, which it does look like it could happen tomorrow with a final crossover with Arrow, and it looks like it could be really cool, but I'll be talking about that when I review that episode, so hope it's not disappointing, and I really want to know what you think, because I'm really excited to see what they do with this. So please let me know in the comments. I'll see you on the next episode of Legends and Theories. Thank you for watching this episode of Legends and Theories. Please subscribe, like the video, share the video, leave a comment, check out the video on screen, and may the Force be with you.